distinguished ministers, head of delegates, representatives from international organizations. A very good evening to all of you who have been able to join us here in Bali today. And good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of you who join us virtually. On behalf of Minister of Health, Pak Budi, on my side, and myself, allow me to extend my warm welcome to the second and our last joint finance and health ministers meeting under the Indonesia G20 presidency. The COVID-19 pandemic has dominated much of our domestic as well as international policy discussion over the last few years, and rightly has been a key focus of our presidency this year as we have sought to recover together and recover stronger. We documented our policy responses and the impact in our book recently published. This is the book that we have entitled Keeping Indonesia Safe from the COVID-19 Pandemic, because we understand that this is not just an ordinary challenge for us, Indonesia, but an extraordinary one. And that's why we want to capture those experience and knowledge into this valuable book. You might receive the book in your souvenir bag, and the book is jointly written by policymakers who were involved in formulating the policy responses and reputable economists and academicians who conducted impact assessment. The copy of the book is also available outside at the book corner. Many countries have increasingly moved toward a new normal of living with COVID. But millions of new cases, as well as thousands of deaths, are still reported each week. Furthermore, the cross-border spread of monkeypox has reminded us that it is a matter of when, not if, we face the next pandemic. The importance and urgency of our work to be better prepared for future pandemic, therefore, remain as relevant as ever. 1 year on from the mandate set by our leaders in the 2021 Rome Declaration, today we have the opportunity to discuss the achievements we have collectively made this year to reform the global health architecture, as well as how we should focus our future effort. We will hear an update on the latest development in the operationalization of the pandemic fund since its establishment at the inaugural governing body meeting held virtually on the 8th and 9th of September, which was a significant milestone in ensuring the world is better prepared for the next pandemic. I'm sure you will join me in welcoming the agreement as well as the adoption of 4 documents by the governing board of the pandemic fund, which are key for its operation, namely, first, the governance framework; second one, the operation manual; third, the contribution agreement template; and the fourth is the financial procedure agreement template. We will hear further on the latest development from co-chairs of the pandemic fund, who are also here with us today. Pak Khatib Basri, which is next across my seat, and Minister Ngabinje, which is also coming here today. We will seek your high-level guidance for the pandemic fund as it continues to become operational, including what the priorities of the pandemic fund should be for its first call for funding proposals. I know you will agree that we must get this right to ensure we properly address the pandemic PPR especially on the financing gaps that we identified earlier this year. We will also discuss how best to take forward the work on finance and health coordination arrangement, including whether to expand the scope of the Finance Health Task Force to a multi-year planning horizon and what its key objectives should be for 2023. This is our colleague India presidency. These are crucial questions to ensure we have medium and long-term strategies in place for any future global responses to new pandemics. We will then conclude with a discussion on the outcome document of our meeting. Before I hand over to Pak Budi, let me first mention two additional things. Firstly, I want to take a moment to explain to you all the significance of the flower, which were centerpiece of our meeting today. If you look at from each of your side, maybe it's not really that obvious. But the flower garden is in the form of the island of Indonesia. That is the white color roses. These are representing the big island of Indonesia. Flowers that are visually colorful, which symbolize our Indonesia Bhinneka Tunggal Ika. That is, we are all actually so diverse within one country. In a sense, Indonesia is one, healthy and strong, as well as united as a nation, although we are so and such a diverse in terms of people, race, ethnicity, or even local languages. The white roses represent some of the biggest islands of Indonesia and also at the same time symbolize our sincerity and peace. Secondly, on your table, there is also a G20 presidency tumbler. That is, you see the tumbler over there with Indonesia hand-painted batik. We call it sulur-sulur and sekar jagat. Sulur-sulur is actually all the flow of the leaves, and sekar is the flower. Jagat is the world. The sulur-sulur pattern on the green tumbler are an embodiment of the life that will continue, grow and thrive, while sekar jagat, that is the flower, pattern on the black tumbler is a symbol of harmony in diversity. It is in this spirit that I welcome those of you who have been able to join us here in Bali to our meeting today. I will now hand over to Pak Budi for his welcoming remark. Pak Budi.
Thank you, Ibu Sri Mulyani, distinguished ministers, head of delegates, representatives from international organizations. Cooperation between finance and health has never been more central in the stage of global policy than it is today. The COVID-19 pandemic has awakened us to the fact that the fate of our economy is closely tied to the state of our health. Health is our true wealth. Without health, our economy suffers. And without wealth, our health also suffers. Like two interdependent strings aligned and braided into one strong rope, it is this cooperation between finance and health that makes humanity today stronger. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to congratulate each of you for making this pandemic fund possible. It is a pinnacle not only of the hard work and dedications, but also the humanity in each of us. The humanity to make a difference and build a better world for our children and our great-grandchildren. The Pandemic Fund is a cornerstone on which we will rebuild and strengthen our global health architecture. It will also represent the first and the most important G20 health track priorities this year. On top of that, just to recap briefly and to report to all of you, from the G20 health track, we have also achieved progress in completing the Act A evaluation to improve access to pandemic medical countermeasures, to pave the way to improve global sharing of genomic surveillance, to allow freedom of international travel through interoperable systems of health certificates, and to map how we can work together in research and manufacturing networks of vaccine, therapeutics, and diagnostic. Going forward, as Minister Sri Mulyani has underlined, we have established the sources of fund. And now it is our job to continue on the uses of fund. The pandemic fund will provide for peacetime by addressing critical gaps on the sea surveillance, laboratory systems, health workforce strengthening, and medical countermeasure readiness. Yet, we need to prepare and allocate this pandemic fund for wartime, where certain amount of this fund will be used and can be used as a catalyst fund to accelerate the provisions of health emergency countermeasure. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the original purpose of G20 to serve as a platform for international cooperation to achieve global financial stability. The cooperations between G20 finance and health today, I believe, has served this purpose indeed. The cooperations that bring us from crisis to peace, from trauma to triumph, from calamity to recovery, and from sickness and poverty to wellness and prosperity. My hope is that the bond between finance and health will stay strong in the coming years, as our important work to strengthen the global health architecture remains as relevant as ever, as the best wealth is health. Thank you. Now I hand over back to you, Ibu Sri Mulyani, to chair the first session.
Thank you, Pak Budi. So, colleague, our first agenda tonight will be a working dinner. So we definitely will serve you dinner.